Brothers and sisters, we have a plan. This is Backwards James, as obnoxious as ever. Hey guys, I just had a revelation not too long ago, so I always want to get on here and share it. It has to do with the Song of Solomon. And guys, let me just kind of express for you that, I am not like a scholar. I'm not like a learned, I didn't go to any theological schools. I didn't do any of this, okay? I used to always love the Bible. I'm not going to deny that. I've always been a God kind of a person. It's just always been something that, I loved ever since I was a boy. But guys, I've read the Bible many, many, many times, okay? And I'm telling you, I have never understood it. The reason I'm saying I'm a prophet, the reason I'm saying that the Lord is with me, He's giving me revelations, because guys, all of a sudden I understand, okay? And it's not a situation where I claim I understand it, and then I go to some learned elder and I go to some institution and they tell me whether I understand or not, okay? This stuff, I know it, and I just know, okay? And I don't know how I know, but now I do. Of course, I give all credit to the Lord Yahushua, Jesus Christ. The revelation of the Lord is mighty. Okay, so that being said, you saw the title. Okay, there are two brides that are described in the Song of Solomon. Okay, guys, among all, this is for me one of the greatest revelations I've ever had. Okay, because out of all the books of the Bible, I'd say the Song of Solomon for me was like gibberish. I just didn't understand it. It was just all lovey-dovey at first, and I used to read it in flesh, and I used to think about it in flesh. And the Lord is showing me all kinds of stuff, but let's just get to the point. So if you open to Song of Solomon's, also the Canticles, I believe, Chapter 3 is where you see your first bride, okay? Now, it starts off, it's very interesting. I really do kind of feel like the bride splits in two. Okay, at first, she starts out looking for her beloved one. And this is not getting to the point yet. Starting out in the beginning, she goes, where's my beloved one? She wants to know the beloved one, and she doesn't know where to find him. Where does he tend to his sheep? Her family doesn't like her. Her family has disowned her. Say, hey, go tend to your own flock. She said, my own vineyard I did not keep. Okay. So then he says, if you don't know my beloved one, this is in chapter 1, if you don't know where to find me, then go and follow after the shepherds and the flocks, and then you'll learn. So skip to chapter 3. Okay. You got the bride, okay? She's laying down. She goes, I was laying in bed, but my heart was awake. No, that's chapter 5. She says, she was in bed, okay? And it was nighttime, okay? This is chapter 3. Between chapter 3 and 5. So she gets up in the middle of the night, and she's just hot for the Lord. She can't lay there any longer. She gets up, and this is very awkward for a woman to get up in the middle of the night and go searching for a man, okay? She gets up in the middle of the night. She goes out of her house. She goes out into the streets looking for the loved one, which of course is Solomon, right? Who represents the son of David, who of course represents Jesus Christ. She goes out at night looking in the streets and the alleyways looking for the Lord, okay? She don't find him. She goes to the watchman and she says, have you seen my loved one? She says, scarcely had I passed beyond them when I finally found my beloved one. Now, guys, where do the watchmen reside? The watchmen are on the wall, okay? The wall of the city is the outskirts of the city. So not only does she leave her house, she goes to the wall of the city looking for the Lord. She goes beyond the wall. She goes beyond the wall and finds the Lord, okay? When she runs into Solomon, of course, Solomon's got his palanquin. Okay, he's sitting there in his holy carriage, and it's surrounded by 60 mighty men. And they're like, who's this beloved one coming out? And then finally, she sees Solomon, and chapters, pretty much all of the rest of 3, all of 4 is devoted to their love of each other. They love each other, and he finally found her, and she says that she found her beloved one, and she wrapped her arms around him and would not let him go until she brought him to the house of her mother. Okay, now this is extremely enlightening. Okay, because remember when the Lord rose. Okay, Mary Magdalene finds him in the garden. In the garden. Oh my Lord. Oh my God. He just did it again. Thank you, my Lord Yahshua. Thank you. She goes to him thinking that he's a gardener. She puts her arms around him. She says, Mary. And she recognizes him, puts her arms around him. Okay, and clings to him. And he says to her, stop clinging to me. I have not yet ascended to the Father. Okay. Go back to Song of Solomon. Okay. That is the first bride, right? This is the really chosen bride. This is the bride, the one that's the one that can't sleep. She gets up out of her bed at night. She goes out of the city to find Solomon, and then Solomon takes her. The 60 mighty men. That's another video, okay? But anyways, let's go on to the second bride. Let's go on to the left behind bride, because Luke certainly declares one will be taken, the other will be left. Okay. Now, I think the evidence of this, the proof of this, is more convincing when you consider the second bride. So go to chapter 5 once again, and see, this is the part that confuses me. Normally, I'm reading this in Song of Solomon. I don't know what it means, but the Spirit is with me now, so I can understand it now. Okay, you go to chapter 5. I think starting in verse 2. Before I start that. So it ends up where they're feasting, they're eating, and they're going to the garden. It says, eat, O companions. That's the 5 verse 1. Eat, O companions. This is the feast of the Lord. This is the wedding feast of the Lord. The first one from the woman, the bride from chapter 3 is the taken one. She is the one that gets raptured, okay? The one that gets left behind is in chapter 5, starting in verse 2. Once again, we're back asleep again, okay? She's lying in her bed. She says, I am asleep, but my heart is awake. And then instead of her getting out of her bed, look, she hears a knock at the door. And who is it at the door? It's her beloved one. He said, the beloved one's at the door. He said, oh, come, open to me, my beloved. Open to me. Look, it's time for love. It's time for spring. Okay? And then what does she do? This is the part. This is perfect. This is exactly what the lukewarm church does. This is exactly what the Peters do. Okay, this is exactly what they do. They do this. They do all of this. Okay? The second bride, she says, look, I have washed my feet. Can I defile them again? I have put off my robe. Can I put it back on again? And so after she begs off, okay, the Lord then puts his hand through the door. He puts his hand through the door and he waves his hand, okay? He waves at her. Now, this flashing, when he flashes her like that, right? Then she knows for sure, oh, it's the Lord. Oh my God. She gets up. She's starting to get ready, and she's all panicked. She's very excited, She puts on her fine dress, she puts on her makeup, she gets dressed first. Then she goes to the door. When she gets to the door, of course, the loved one had passed on. He was gone. He left her behind. Then she goes out into the city. Then she goes out into the street. Then she comes across the watchmen. They find her in the city. They smite her. They smote her. They smack her around. They take off her veil. Okay? And she's, her heart is sick. She's, oh, my beloved one, if you see him, tell me I love him. Now she's ready, okay? But she's got to get left behind, okay, in order to be ready. Okay, now she's ready. Now, remember what the Lord says? He says, when the Lord comes, let him find you as a servant waiting, so that when he knocks, you might immediately open. Is that what she did? She didn't immediately open the door. She begged off first. She got dressed second. I used to think about, why did the watchmen beat her? Why did they take off her veil? Some translation says they snatch off her wide wrap. They did that because, look, it's improper for her to be out there, okay, dressed and looking like a harlot. Okay, if she gets ready, if she's got on perfume, if she's fully dressed, and she's outside looking for the Lord in the dead of night, she certainly looks like a harlot. Okay, the first bride that got up looking for him, she even asked the watchman, then she goes beyond them, goes outside of the city. She didn't get dressed. What does it say? Does it say that she got dressed? Does it say that she put on all her perfume, all her myrrh? It doesn't. It says that she went out. She's dressed in her common robes and goes out to Solomon. Solomon sees her dressed in her common dress and takes her. Now, this is very important because the beyond the city, okay, this is where you'll find the Lord. In order to find the real Lord Jesus Christ, you have to go outside of the city. You have to stop playing church. You have to go up to Calvary and find the Lord. He's out of the church. He's outside of the city. This is where he was put to death, was outside of the city walls. You have to go outside of the city walls. He says, pick up your cross and follow me, okay? Pick up your cross and follow me continually. You have to mark. Look, the bride of Christ, when she walks down the aisle, the Lord is already waiting for her at the altar, at the cross, with his arms wide open, like the song says, okay? This is where the first bride goes. The second bride didn't get that far. The watchmen see her, they smite her, and they take away her clothing, okay? This is what happens to those that get left behind. He says, keep awake so that you don't lose your outer garments. Look what it says in Revelation. That he says that the wild beast will hit the harlot and will leave her devastated and naked, okay? The one that gets stripped, the second bride, that's the one that gets left behind. Okay, go pray to the Lord Yahshua if you don't believe me. Okay, but the Lord revealed it to me, and I am on fire with this revelation because, guys, it's all coming together, okay? The one that gets taken, the one that gets left, it's right there in Song of Solomon. It's predicted even in the Song of Solomon, okay? And now the Song of Solomon makes sense. Has the Song of Solomon made sense to you before, before now? Perhaps, want to be as modest as possible, but then again, this is a huge revelation. It didn't make sense to me. Guys, I read it over and over again after the revelation. I was like, wow, this is what it really means. Okay? When you read it now, okay, knowing that there's two brides, right? Knowing that the one that gets taken and the other one's left. Now, at the end of it, right, it says we have, this is the very end of the book. It says, we have a little sister. She has no breasts. What will we do for her in her time when it comes? It says, if she is an open door, we shall plank her up with cedars. If she be a wall, we should build a silver turret upon her. This is very significant because the ones that get left behind, they are going to be offered an indecent proposal by Satan. Now they have to deal with the proposal of Satan. Now the one who's open to the indecency, the one who takes the mark, the one who marries the devil, yes, she will be boarded up with cedars, she will be boarded up with a plank. Okay, that's what it says in Song of Solomon. The one that gets boarded up with a plank, that's a coffin, my fellows. Okay, but the one who is like a wall, they resist the indecent proposal. They turn down the mark. Okay, it says we will build a silver turret upon this one. Now, of course, silver is much better than a plank. I mean, it's just signs and symbols. The Lord is making me understand. I hope that this helps out. I hope that you go back and you look at Song of Solomon now, that you might see it in a whole new light, because the Lord has said, what I have revealed to you in the darkness, go and shout from the housetops. So I'm really excited about it, guys. Please leave comments, and I love you. I gotta go. Have a good one.